welcome back to another review by Mega Train Lover. Today we're having a look at a Hornby model which I've had for a few months now, but I've only just gotten round to reviewing it. It is the one and only, newly tooled ex-Great Western Railway King class in BR green with the laid crest. The Great Western Railway 6000 or King class were a class of 30 engines built between 1927 and 1932 to the design of Charles Collett at Swindon Works. They were the largest engines ever built by the Great Western, with the exception of the one-off Pacific, the Great Bear, and they were designed for express passenger work. Due to their large weight, they were restricted on the routes which they can run on. For example, they couldn't run the entire length of the Great Western Main Line from London to Cornwall. They could only run as far as Plymouth, as they were too heavy for the Royal Albert Bridge over the Tamar. They locomotives were very successful, however they were withdrawn by 1962. Thankfully though, 3 examples have been preserved. Whilst Hornby have been producing the King class for many years, this is the newly tooled version which was first released in 2016 or 17 I believe. The product code is R3332 BR Late King class number 6029 King Edward VIII. Although the box says DCC ready, as standard with all my models I have fitted a DCC decoder to it. So one thing to get out of the way is the 2 lamps on the front. These I fitted separately. They do not come with the model. They were purchased separately just to add a bit of realism. But as you can see, the model itself looks absolutely beautiful. Let's start with the front. You can see separately fitted brake pipe and the coupling hook, and you can see the cylinders as well. Of course, it is a 4-cylinder locomotive in common with the Castle class as well. You can see the copper cap chimney, which is very typical of the Great Western, and the separately fitted lamp irons. The buffers are indeed sprung on both the front of the engine and on the tender as well. You can see the unusual bogie wheels here, whereby the wheels closer to the driving wheels have internal axle boxes, and the ones closer to the buffers have external axle boxes. You can see the separately fitted lubricator box, which has been modelled and painted very accurately, and also the steps leading up to the footplate, all looking very nice indeed. One feature I do love is the way that the valve gear on the inside has been painted accordingly. So rather than just leaving it blank and having no detail there at all, they have actually gone to the trouble of painting the valve gear just to make it look all that more realistic. As you can see, the model does have separately fitted handrails running along both sides of the boiler. The typical Great Western external valve gear is modelled really nicely on both sides of the model. Of course, this is common across all of the Great Western 460s, and here it is represented brilliantly. The nameplates, whilst printed, they look really nice. As you can see, there are separately fitted handrails, and the livery application is spot on. The safety valve bonnet, although it looks nice, it could have done with being a bit more shiny, but never mind. One feature I do absolutely love though is the way that the cab roof vents can be opened and closed, as demonstrated here. This was not a feature on the original King class. Being a Great Western tender engine, you can very clearly see the cab, which has been modelled beautifully. So you can see the regulator, the brake and the reverser, and also the lubricator, all separately fitted parts and modelled brilliantly. It's such a nice cab, and of course very typical across all Great Western tender engines. The injector pipes have been separately fitted beneath the locomotive, and they look really nice, as does the separately fitted reversing rod just behind the nameplate there. The number plate, whilst printed, does look really nice, and also you can see the unique double circle weight restriction as well. The tender is a Collett 4,000 gallon tender, and it looks really nice. The livery application on it is spot on. The coal load, I'm not too sure if it's removable, however the coal load does look really nice. And also you can see the separately fitted lamp irons on the back along with the steps. And as you can see, the British Railways late crest logo has been applied really nicely as well. As mentioned previously, the tender does indeed have sprung buffers just above the NEM pocket with the tension lock coupling. All in all, this model looks absolutely beautiful. However, does it perform as well as it looks? Let's find out in a second. So, does the model run well? Well, the answer is yes, it runs beautifully well. Straight out of the box, the model performed excellently. Of course, I have had this for a few months now, so it has been fully run in. However, I remember straight out of the box, it did run really, really well. Of course, you have pickups on the driving wheels and also the tender wheels as well, so that gives it very, very smooth performance. And the locomotive is quite weighty, so it can easily haul 8 or 10 coaches, which of course was typical with the King class if you're modelling, you know, an accurate Great Western train. But I do highly, highly recommend this model, especially if you're a Great Western fan. You cannot have a Great Western loco collection without a King class. Of course, these were the most important locomotives of the Great Western, being the top link passenger engines. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.